Hi, this is Tim Grant, your 5-minute QuickBooks professor. Today talking about how to use multiple locations within QuickBooks Enterprise. This feature is only available with the Advanced Inventory module. So to start, you want to go to Edit Preferences to get things set up, and this is under Items and Inventory. Click on Company Preferences, and from there, select Advanced Inventory Sessions. Across the top, there's 4 tabs. We're only interested in the first one. QuickBooks refers to locations as sites, so you want to use that. The first choice is simply just to enable it. There's then a couple of warnings that you can set, but the big one to check here is to track bin locations within inventory sites. And this can be whatever you designate, an aisle, a row, a shelf, a bin, those sort of things. 99% of the time you're going to want to have that turned on and to warn it if you're not going to have enough to sell. So that's how you get it set up. Very simple. And then once you do, under lists, you're going to have now an option for inventory site list. Now there are 2 locations that QuickBooks will automatically set up for you. One is the drop ship. That's when you're placing an order from a vendor and you want it shipped directly to the customer, avoiding your warehouses. The other is for unspecified site. So if you're importing some items into QuickBooks and you have your sites turned on, but you don't specify which site that they're sitting in right now, then QuickBooks will automatically put them in this location and you'll have to transfer them out, which we'll show in a second. Now what I've done is I've set up 2 sites here. You can have up to 1 million in QuickBooks Enterprise. And then I've set up some bin locations underneath. Unfortunately, the one limitation though is you can't have these in multiple levels. So if I try to make this a sub unit of another bin, it's going to warn you that you can't do that. You can only have 1 level warehouse and 1 level bin. Now I've seen people in the naming change this a little bit to make it a little simpler, so they may have Los Angeles, aisle 1, row 5, and then all the bins listed underneath. You can also have a numbering scheme like I've done here, where I have in the bin naming is aisle 5, row 1, bin 1, so you can do that as well. To create a new item, you're going to go here, go to new as you do on most lists. It automatically opens it up assuming that this is a warehouse, so it's going to ask for all the information. However, if this is just a bin, all you do is check this little box, and then it's going to ask you which location that you want this to be posted to. So ironically, if you want to have default bins for when you're purchasing and receiving items, you don't do it on that window. You instead do it on the Add Multiple List Items window. And from here, you would select your inventory parts, you would select your site, and then you see here for an item, if I scroll all the way to the right, this is the only place where you can set like a default. So if I were to sell this item, they would always choose, say in this example, A1 bin, or if I were to purchase this, where it would always pull from, or put the items into initially, excuse me, when you do it. So that's important to know. So the transfers, we'll do those under inventory, transfer inventory very simply. So you select your locations, San Francisco, let's say we're going to Los Angeles, we'll select our items, and this will, from there, it'll tell me, okay, I can choose from this bin and the quantity that I want to transfer and the bin at the receiving unit. Now, the one thing to notice about this is that this transaction only has 1 date, and there might be a time difference between when the items are shipped and when they're received. So you have to determine when you want this posted and how it's going to affect the inventory. That's up to you. We prefer to use where it's when it's received at that time, but that choice is up to you. So you're going to use these newly created sites in a number of transactions. You can use them in purchase orders, you can use them in bills, you can write checks, credit cards on the purchasing side. The only one that's a little bit different is the purchase orders, because on all the others you'll have a field for bin and for site. Whereas you see here when I select the item, it doesn't let me to open it up. So what you have to remember to do is here under Ship To, that's where you would specify your site. And then once I do that, then my bin locations become available. So those are the purchasing side transactions. On the sales receipt side, you can have under a sales receipt or under an invoice. You can go ahead and start entering your items and your sites. And once you do that, the bin will show you how many that you have available, which is pretty convenient to be able to see how many that you have. I'm going to clear that, excuse me, clear that. And then finally, the reports, most of them you'll see under the Inventory Center. You'll see there are 3 here on the right for stock status, inventory valuation, and quantity on hand by site. All 3 of those let you filter the report by your site. And if you wanted to see the bin locations under Reports, Inventory, there is a report for items by bin location. And that's it. I'm Tim Grant, your 5-Minute QuickBooks professor, thanking you for joining us, and I'll see you in class next time. Thank you.